Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining me on today's webinar, Modern Estimating in the Cloud for today's challenges featuring ProEst. Hopefully everybody was able to grab something good for lunch while we go through this. Feel free to tell me what you're having in the questions section. I'm just kidding. So a few housekeeping items before we get started. All of our attendees are muted for a clean listening experience. If you have any questions, please use the questions box and we'll address them at the end of the session. And also, please maximize your screen for the best viewing experience. A quick introduction. My name is Michael Fiducia. I'm a territory manager with the According Company. There's my contact information for anyone who already doesn't have it. Please feel free to reach out with any questions after the webinar concludes. I will also put my contact information up again at the end of our session. So let's review our agenda for the day. We're going to go over a quick introduction to ProEst, a demonstration of the software showcasing its cloud capability and how it acts as a single source for all pre-construction processes, and then followed up by Q&A. Based in San Diego, ProEst is a cloud-based construction estimating solution that offers automated features for construction companies of all sizes. It was designed so you don't have to go through months of training. Its streamlined process means less screens and clicks to move you efficiently through your bidding process. It enables construction teams to monitor and manage centralized estimates, takeoffs, reports, and contracts, and all information can be accessed and shared 24/7 from any internet-connected mobile device. It even has CRM capabilities built into the platform. Whether your team is socially distanced in the office, working from home, or on a job site, they will have access to the pre-con info needed in ProEst. Dashboards offer a look at relevant KPIs so users can manage, measure, evaluate, and control business performance throughout the project lifecycle, and construction databases provide current costing and productivity data. ProEst also offers visibility into the future by tracking pending projects, updating estimate pipelines, and creating accurate short and long-term business forecasts. Here at According, we're committed to providing our clients with modern, best-in-class tools to empower their organization to support strategic objectives, whether it is technology-driven, financial targets, etc. And we partnered with ProEst because of their commitment to do the same. With that being said, let's jump into the software. On the left is your menu bar. As you can see, I have the Home tab, Calendar, Estimate Center, Relationships, Task List, Database, Reports, Education, and Support. Everything needed to use ProEst is easily accessible right from this menu. Now I'm going to minimize the menu, giving me the most screen real estate, which is crucial in takeoff and estimating. If I move to the top right, I can see my name, where I can log out, and I can also check out the most recent release notes, as well as the release notes from previous releases over the last couple of years. So as you can see, ProEst has already had a few releases this year, and they're on pace to do a couple more. In the settings, if I click According, I can manage my settings and the rest of my systems, such as my company setup and user management. Now let's dive into our dashboard. Tasks and Events displays all activities logged into the system to keep you aware of what's going on. I can filter by all tasks, or if I would just like to see today's, I could do that, and today and past due as well. Moving over to the right, I can see some KPIs and great visual graphs. On my dashboard, I have open estimates by type, open estimates by status, year-to-date one by type, and year-to-date by type. In the middle, I have visibility into total $1, our close rate, estimates in the pipeline, and total amount estimated. These metrics can be customized and restricted based on company and user setup. A chief estimator, director of operations, or owner can see how the company is performing as a whole, and you can limit your staff estimators to only see their own data in the system. Now, taking a look at the calendar, I can see all tasks and events for this month. Right now, I'm looking at items that are assigned to me, but I could switch the view and take a look at it in a departmental view or company-wide. This becomes very helpful for managing and coordinating estimates and estimators who are responsible for managing their calendars. This calendar can also be synced to any outside calendar you're using, such as Google and Microsoft. So you rely, if you rely more on your email calendar, you'll have visibility to your ProEst activities as well. Now let's skip over Estimate Center for now and talk about relationships and CRM. So when I click relationships, I'm presented with a list of all of my vendors, customers, leads, and leads, I'm sorry. I can click on any column list to sort. So if I want to sort by the company name, or maybe I want to sort by type. Oh, sorry, that's only work for company. I could do that. And then if I click on one of my accounts, such as one of my clients, Garden State Development, I am presented with all their company information, as well as a history of all tasks that are date and time stamped. I can view my contacts, business conducted with this client, a list of tasks, so we know where when we have meetings or need to follow up on open items of their business type, so we can do some analysis, as well as if they were a subcontractor, I could see the trades that they perform, so that way I can invite them to bid on estimates. So now this would be a great transition into our Estimate Center. And another thing, we can also filter. So if I go back, maybe I just want to see all my subs, right? So I can, click on just my subs, and now I see just my subs. If I want to see just clients, I can do so by just clicking on clients as well. And I also have an intuitive search bar up here. So if I want to search Garden State, I start clicking, and anything with the characters I typed in will populate over here. So now let's go over to the Estimate Center. This is where we create, store, and view all estimates in ProEst. Depending on permissions in the system, I can either see just my own estimates, or if necessary, view the estimates for others as well. Right now I'm looking at estimates in a list view, which many users prefer, but if you are a more visual person, we can switch to the tile view, where you can attach a thumbnail image and just make it a little more visual friendly. We can sort our estimates like I showed you in our relationships, or we can search other fields as well. And again, using our search bar, we can also start typing in and looking for estimates. So if we want to see, our Amazon jobs or anything containing AMA, we could do so. So, and additionally, if we want to hide and just take a look at our active jobs, right? We just click on active. Maybe we want to see all the ones in process right now. So active and negotiating, we could take a look at those too. So let's go ahead and open up this estimate. If I click on this little pencil, I'll see all the information about this estimate, like the setup info, where we can identify the estimate type, status, category. I can merge this estimate with another. Here's my estimate labor source. So if you are going to use ProEst data that is deployed by RS Means or BNI, or even your own geographic area pricing, if you perform work in multiple geographic locations, we can apply a labor source. So for example, I have New Jersey and New York selected here. And then we can also capture other cost sources for equipment, our general estimate cost sources. We can update our estimates, and then we have our due date and size of the project. On our Teams tab, here's where we start to use some of the collaborative features in ProEst. You can see I've already invited Lionel to collaborate on this estimate. If I want to add an additional team member, I could select them from a drop-down list and also remove them if necessary. Once I click Save, the edit person or people will get an email notification inviting them to collaborate on the estimate. Then I can begin adding bid-specific information like site. I'm sorry, I also have my contacts here as well. So I have my contact at Garden State Development, Kim Thompson. If I want to add additional contacts, I can. And now we can start adding bid-specific information like site location, scope, inclusions, exclusions, and payment terms. All of these fields can be added to your reports. Now, let's jump into this estimate. On our Documents tab, I can see all documents pertaining to this estimate. I have drawings, I have a spec sheet, and I have other things such as a photo and an insurance certificate added. So right now you see that all of my documents are grouped by type, right? I could just take a look at it in a list view or group it by type or by owner. You'll notice that the drawings, go back to type, are marked as public. So this allows me to share my drawings with subs. So when I invite them to bid on the project, they can easily access the drawings without me having to send an additional email. Our subs will have limited access to the system and only see what we want them to. And you can also download or email any of these documents out of the system if needed. Most estimating softwares in the market require you to go through a database and select items and assemblies needed for a particular estimate. ProEst does give you that option, so if you're comfortable doing it that way, let me show you that real quick. So what I'm going to do is also highlight the power and benefit of the cloud solution. So I'm going to right-click and open up my database in a new tab. And if I'm using more than one monitor, I can simply create a new window for this tab and use one monitor for my estimate and look at my database in another. Here I can view all my items and assemblies in my database broken down into the 48 division CSI cost code structure. If I open up a folder, you could see that it is further broken down into subfolders, where I can view the item code and description, unit, and unit cost. From here, I can click the plus sign to add an item to our estimate. And once it turns yellow, it's letting me know that it has been added. I can also view the assemblies in my database and again, manage any cost sources such as RS means and BNI. So real quick, before we go back to the estimate, I can add, remove, copy, or move any item or assembly in the database. So if I go over to assemblies and open up one, I could take a look at the items included in that assembly. And also any corresponding formulas. I can also edit any of the formulas in the assembly, just like our items. So now let's go back into our estimate. I'm going to demonstrate the power of ProEst cloud-based estimating and the differentiation between picking through your database and adding items through the power of our search bar to build your estimate. So the idea here is to mitigate the amount of clicks and time it takes to build an estimate. So if I click in this search bar and start typing in concrete, I will see a list of all the items and assemblies in my database that include the word concrete. Items have a single cube and assemblies have a triple cube. I can easily scroll through this list and input, select it, and then input the quantity, and now it is added to my estimate. So if I go ahead, let's go ahead and add a slab. I'm going to click on this one. You'll see that I'm presented with some variables. So if I go ahead and input the square footage of the slab area, I can put in my perimeter, and I can also put in the depth, base depth. Okay. Once I do that, put in my quantity. I'm sorry, it is now added to my estimate, and where should I see it? Let me look at it by assembly. So here you're seeing that I can group my estimate in different ways, right? So right now I'm grouping by assembly. So here's that 4-inch slab that I just added with all the associated items. If you want to start adding additional grouping levels like divisions and assemblies, we can sort now by division, and then within each division, see the assemblies that apply to it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and clear these. And now let's go over to takeoff, which is our third way to add to our estimate. We could take a look at all of the drawings on our documents tab. I'm sorry, right over here. On the right-hand side, I could take a look at all the drawings that were added from my documents tab and then begin performing digital takeoff. So I have all of my options up here. I could set a standard scale, or I could select a custom scale by taking a known measurement on the drawing, pointing and clicking, and then setting that scale. I also have overlay capabilities if needed, and I can choose a snap angle for my line. So if I want to take off, a room, I can easily hit a 45-degree angle and then go ahead and take those 4 corners off. So just like our estimate sheet, we can begin typing in what's needed to perform takeoff, right? So if I go ahead and select another slab, right? And by the way, when I see this little grid next to my cube, that's letting me know that this item has already been added to our estimate. So I'm going to go ahead, and now you see that I can start pointing and clicking and using the 45-degree angle. My lines are coming out nice and crisp. And to end that, I would just double click. Okay, so down here, you'll see that my 4-inch slab is taken off. I have my square footage, but then I have my slab perimeter and base depth that I need to put in. So I'll just put in 4-inch base depth. So I can go ahead and also take off my perimeter as well. Looks like I just got a little gap towards there. And now I have my lineal footage of the perimeter. So if you see the colored cube next to the quantity, that means that it was taken off digitally. Anything without a color means that it was input manually. So let's go back and see how that impacted our estimate. We'll see that this slab was 232 square feet. So we can go ahead, see that our estimate total has increased. And if I go ahead and group my estimate by assemblies again and division, come over to concrete, I now have a second orange slab. That was the other one. Let's take a look at this one. So now you see, again, all the items that have come over. Making sure we have the information needed. And maybe one of the items in this assembly needs to be switched out, right? So maybe we want to switch out the concrete strength. By clicking on the item, I can easily go ahead and replace the concrete PSI strength. Okay. Now this will not have an impact on your database. It will only change the estimate. Items can also be removed from an assembly. So if I scroll over a bit, you'll see that I have an X. So maybe we're not going to use bolster chairs in this lab. But again, will not have an impact on your database. Okay, so once we have our items added to our estimate, we can go ahead and see how we can begin sorting our estimate. So if I want to view the data by phase or floor, we can. We can also add, change, or remove selections on the fly. So we can start to exclude certain areas of our estimate. So if I go ahead and, for example, exclude phase 1, you'll see that sort types is now turned red, indicating that I have excluded something from my estimate. I can also see a list of tasks pertaining to this estimate. So we have an architects meeting scheduled tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then on our invitations tab, here's where I can manage the different subs I've invited to bid on the project and monitor the status of their bid. Now in bid day, I apologize for not having any data here, but with the bid day tool, we can manage our subs bids, determine the low path, and award that work to those subs. And finally, we get to the summary tab, where we can see our totals broken down by cost type and apply markups as needed. Here I have overhead, material markup, profit, and bonding applied. If needed, we can add or remove markups, and all markups are configurable by you. So for bonding, we could set your different levels and percentages. Now, once we have all of our markups complete, we can move over to the report center. We have a variety of different reports in the system that are easily managed in a folder structure. So if I go ahead and click on estimate cost types, we'll show you a lot of detail with the markups broken down on the bottom of the report in a pie chart. See, we have lots of data on here and the markups down below. If we switch over to estimate totals, the markups will be allocated across the different divisions. And these intuitive reports can also be sorted different ways, right? So right now I have it sorted by divisions, but if I want to sort it by assemblies, I could do so as well. We can also produce proposals, contracts, bill of materials, takeoff quantities, and we can even get some analytical reports. So in our estimate center, go ahead and collapse that folder. We can do things like look at a company-wide report. So here I have some filters. So I'm going to filter this by date. Let's go back a month, and we'll do it up to the end of this month. Now we can see, how many projects were created, how many were closed, total revenue, our close rate, pipeline. Right now I'm the only estimator with estimates in the system, and then we can also get some information on usage. We can also take a look at things like project profitability, estimate profitability, and estimate success and workload. There's also a built-in report design tool where you can create custom reports. All right. Another really cool feature of ProEst is the ability to manage and create workflows. You can set up different tasks and decisions within your company, and this is a really intuitive and powerful tool where you can create different scenarios for your estimating process. In mine, you see when an estimator creates a bid less than 10 million, it can go for final approval. But if it exceeds 10 million, it has to go to the second step for review, and if it is approved, then it can go for a final confirmation. When these events are triggered, it can create a task, an email that will be sent to the appropriate person. This is a very basic workflow, but as you can imagine, you can get pretty creative. Quickly taking a look at the company setup tab on our integrations tab, you'll see that ProEst can integrate with a variety of other solutions, including accounting and project management solutions that can create harmony across your organization and the different departments. If the accounting or project management solution you use is not listed here, doesn't mean we can't get the data out of Excel and into that system. We can easily export right out of ProEst. And that just about wraps up my presentation. I hope you saw the value of ProEst and the value it can bring to your organization by providing anywhere, anytime access in a collaborative, cloud-based environment. I'm now going to open the floor up for questions.
All right, thank you, Mike. We have a few questions here. The first question is, what type of support is available?
So with ProEst, you get unlimited support, as I mentioned before, and that's another great feature. Let me just go back into the software real quick and show you. So what the last icon on your menu is support. So we can input a support request here, but you also have an 800 number available to you to call in and get support on demand. Additionally, you can also request features as well. So ProEst does a great job listening to its users and taking user feedback and adding features in its many releases.
Okay, great. Next question is, are the estimate statuses configurable?
Yes, they are. So as you saw, I had a few different statuses, but if I come up into my settings, I can go to estimate status. So in mine, I have active, review, negotiating, awarded, and lost. And part of that CRM capability is and pipeline management. I can put probabilities next to each one of those. But as you can see here at the bottom, I could simply click here and add a new status.
Okay, the next question is there crew capabilities?
Yes, additionally in setup, we can go ahead and manage our crews and then apply these crews to our database.
Okay, one more question is, what are my database options?
Yeah, great question. So a few different options. So we can, if you're using a database in the current solution or Excel, we can, if it's not in Excel already, if we can get it into Excel and format it correctly, we could bring it into ProEst. We can also deploy the standard database as I showed you before. That's part of your implementation. Or we have RS means and BNI databases available.
All right, looks like that's all the questions we had.
Okay, great. So let me just throw this up. I really appreciate everybody's time today. And again, hope you saw how ProEst can help your company become more agile. Again, given all the current circumstances, if people are working remotely, or if you are even just more spread out in the office, right? And having that collaborative nature of ProEst available can really increase your efficiency on the estimating process. So I very much appreciate your time, and I'll be reaching out to all who attended and signed up, following up with any additional questions, and if there's additional presentation that you'd like to see, happy to do so. In the meantime, there's my contact information again, so feel free to reach out, and stay safe, everyone. Have a great rest of the day, and if you didn't get to your lunch yet, go ahead and enjoy it. Take care, everyone.